Hello, people of Earth. Before we start today's show, some big announcements. First of all, How Did This Get Made is coming to Boston on Sunday, June 16th. That's right, on Father's Day, we will be at the Wilbur Theater. Tickets go on sale Friday, May 31st at 10 a.m. But if you're listening to this before then, you can access a special fan pre-sale using the code BONKERS. That's right, use that code. Go to hdtgm.com for all the ticket info. And secondly, I want to thank you all for purchasing my book, Joyful Recollections of Trauma. I've been completely blown away by all the support. We had a completely sold out book tour, and your response to the book has really meant the world to me. If you've not gotten the book, go get the book. You can get it wherever books are sold, ebooks are sold, or even audiobooks. And yes, I recorded the audiobook. And yes, the audiobook is full of amazing goodies from How Did This Get Made and even my own home videos. But I just wanted to say thank you all for supporting me. It means the world to me. And I have one more small favor to ask. If you are enjoying the book, if you want to just send some more goodwill, write a review on Amazon or on Goodreads. It really does help, and it will be like your own second opinion. All right, that's all I got. Enjoy your episode on Madam Web.
We were in the Amazon with her mom when she was researching spiders right before she died.
We saw Madam Web, so you know what that means.
Schwarzenegger grow a baby in his belly, rock a rhinestone vest while ripping Justin to Kelly, or maybe see a burlesque show with Nick Crow and take a boat with speed to hitting cruise control. J-Man, Big Paul, and the beautiful June, gonna take you from the groove all the way to the room. Rain the games of Street Fighter, help to blow off steam, just a sucker punch the odd life of Timothy Green. Sharp needles, birdemic, how we staying alive. They call it when you're badass and he's on the line. Cranking 88 minutes cause they cool as ice. Cause the bad Jim Varney looking kinda nice. All the June getting literal, Jason is getting laid. June is making sure all the monkey shots getting paid. They're just a bunch of movies while they're making the grade. Here's a real question for you, how did this get made?
Hello, people of Earth! Hello, people of the Amazon! And hello, people of Largo! We are live in Los Angeles for the movie event of the century. I am talking about the 2024 film, Madame Web. Her web connects them all. By them all, 3 other people. All right, so what do you need to know about this movie? Well, it's about a Queens paramedic played by... just the idea that she's a Queens paramedic. Dakota Johnson plays a Queens paramedic who begins to demonstrate signs of clairvoyance, and forced to challenge revelations about her past, she needs to safeguard 3 young women from a deadly adversary who is completely ADR'd and wants them destroyed. Why? Not really clear. There are so many things, but that is the quickest way I can at least explain the basis of this plot. Do you need to see a Spider-Man movie to understand it? Absolutely not. Do you need to know anything about Marvel movies to understand it? No. Do you need to know anything about spiders? I'm going to say that can also go out the window. Really, the only thing you need to know is Queens geography? Because someone's going to have to tell me where the fuck that forest was. I don't know how they got there. My dad lived in Queens. I lived on Long Island. You're not getting to a forest that dense that quickly. No way. All right, well, we will figure that out and more. But first, please let me welcome my co-host. Please welcome Mr. Jason Mantzoukas.
What's up, jerks? Yes! Happy Web Day! It's happening. We're doing Madame Web. Bonjour. Oh, shit. This is real. Wow, wow, wow. I just finished the movie backstage, and guys, I just found out we can stay here. Great news. We can stay here until 3 a.m. That's how much I need to talk to you about Madame Web.
But you know what? Before we get too much into Madame Web, we must bring
Bonjour,
out
madame.
our resident Marvel expert, a lover of the graphic novel. Please welcome Miss June Diane Raphael. Hello, June. How are you?
I'm well, Paul. How are you?
I'm okay. Thank you for asking. Well, Madame Web.
Madame Web.
Ugh,
I have.
what a rich text.
I want to get something out of the way real quick.
And everybody, take a breath and don't judge.
Oh, I did enjoy this movie. Okay, so yes, that's not what I was going
to be
say.
clear-
I really liked it.
To be clear, I'll jump to the end. I do recommend this movie.
Yeah, this is so great.
I
really
have to be
enjoyed it.
honest, so do I.
Yeah. I
It went
really,
down
really
way
enjoyed it.
smoother than I ever expected it to go down.
I mean, Paul, I cried 2 times.
I cried once. I did. I loved it.
I mean,
Paul.
Every
Well, let's just talk
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
about
yeah,
what
please.
happened to the baby.
Okay, I have a lot of questions about how that baby delivered by spider people in the water cave
Entered
Got-
the foster system? Yeah, me too.
Let's
in,
be clear.
Too.
in Queens. In
I got a few
Queens.
questions.
Keep her in
About
the
that.
jungle. What are we doing? Let them raise her.
Tarzan, right? There's no reason why that baby needed to be shipped back. A motherless baby needed to be shipped back.
Okay, so the baby survives. The baby survives, and
The
then
baby,
I guess
the baby has gotten some of the spider
that
venom
special juice.
Special juice.
because the mother gets stung while the baby is still inside.
no, not stung. The
Oh.
mother gets shot.
No, the mother. Oh yeah, but then the spider gives her the Uma Thurman
Oh, right.
when she's in the hot milk bath. I wasn't expecting that quickly to be that turned on.
I also, the amount of water and spiders that were put together, I was like, interesting combo. Spiders are into water? It doesn't seem
Yeah, it
right.
doesn't seem like it's their place.
It seems like
here's-
water is actually detrimental to spiders and
Yeah.
webs
You're
and
going to
things.
tell me
Arid.
you're going to establish a culture of spider people that live in the Amazon in the first 10 minutes of the movie, and we then are like, the rest of the movie takes place in New York City. This is the most interesting thing in the movie,
In-
unquestionably.
in the most interesting period, 2003.
2 years after 9/11.
2003.
She's an ambulance driver 2 years after 9/11. She's seen
We're
some
going
shit.
to talk about her work as an ambulance driver.
Oh, but
Can
boy.
we just talk about Peru for a second more?
Yeah, what I'm obsessed with is honestly what we didn't see, which is that transition into foster care.
Yep.
Now, later on, she will say, this movie is kind of propaganda for foster care because she will say that somehow she had a great experience.
She's very positive
Okay.
when she is given the responsibility to take care of 3 orphans.
No, but can you imagine
Well, she
though
doesn't like those
newborn,
orphans.
but a newborn baby entering foster
Yeah.
care?
Yep.
Those babies are scooped up pretty quickly. Okay,
Fully scooped.
They're, and this is something that's very troubling. But the babies get scooped up right away. The kids who enter foster care at a later age, they stay in foster care. So the idea of her as a newborn baby just continuing to move around foster care and then not having ever gotten adopted, there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions. And I started to think, like, did you burn a house down as a 7-year-old? Like, why were you not placed in a permanent home?
I would believe if late in the movie there was a reveal that she was a serial killer.
just doesn't
I
make
was like,
it
is-
just doesn't make sense.
I was like, is she
Oh, we're gonna see something over there.
is
So
she
sorry.
a villain?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, God.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you guys. I just was getting some Pepsi.
Listen, okay, here's a question. What is the inciting incident in this movie?
her falling in the water.
Why?
death. It seems to awaken
Activate.
the
What? What?
web vision, web world.
This is the worst superpower
Water?
you can
Oh, yeah.
possibly have. She has no strength. She can just see a couple seconds into the future, but then at the end of the movie, she doesn't see that like her reaction actually fucks up something even.
She
Like,
kills those people in the helicopter. at
Oh
the
yeah.
end.
She gets those people.
Those
she gets
people
those
are
people
dead,
iced.
Paul.
I guess it only gives you like a choose your own adventure. It's like
Those
well,
people
this will
die.
happen.
Her friend who's the ambulance driver dies, who she works with, but she saves that pigeon. Oh, thank God. Thank God she saved the pigeon and not any of those people. We don't need first responders. We need pigeons.
I still am. Oh boy.
But you're right.
I mean,
What is the
also-
what
inciting
hap-
incident? Who knows? Because the inciting incident, I believe, is the spider bite that infects her in the womb.
Yes.
Because that is what connects her to her entire spider heritage and allows her to both be present in her mother's past in a vision and then physically be there in order to be able to hug her mother.
Well, I cried.
Oh yeah.
I cried. I thought
Absolutely.
it was beautiful.
I
Oh.
mean, you know,
Our
there's a-
son, our 7-year-old, did turn to me when I was after that. He was like, "Why are you crying?"
I'm still stuck at this one moment in the movie where Madame Web meets with the three other orphans in the woods outside of Queens,
Oh my God.
and
Astoria,
Flushing. You know, that big
Kew
farm.
Gardens.
So they're in that wooded area, and she's like, "I know you. You live in my building. Okay, interesting. You know, I know you."
No, Sydney Sweeney says, "You're the paramedic who rescued my
Stepmom.
right?
Right. She's like, "You rescued my stepmother." The other one's like, "You live in my building and you leave junk mail and we have to throw it away." And then she's like, "Well, I don't know how I know you." And then Madame says, "You flip me off." And you're like, "Oh, cool." But there's no, okay, it just seems coincidental. Like, it doesn't seem like
Agreed.
I was like,
Why
oh, but there's
are
no
they
larger.
connected? Why are they connected in
Not-
the web?
I mean, there's.
Well,
I mean,
I guess
it's-
that was my question. I thought you two would be able to answer, like in the world of Marvel, what? Because I kept on saying to our 7-year-old, he was like, "Well, when do they get their powers?" I was like, "Soon."
Nope.
You were going to see them. Just wait.
I did
Soon.
think,
Never got 'em.
especially because they give us the scenes in. Is it Ezekiel? Is that it? Is it?
Yes.
Ezekiel Sims, yes.
Yeah, in Ezekiel's
My
vision,
voice will be like this. Sometimes
And
I
almo-
don't even need to move my mouth for
He
me
does
to
it.
tell.
It's all ADR. His entire performance, I would believe you if you told me a different actor did it because it's so heavily ADR.
I have gotten confirmation it's definitely him.
Oh, I'm sure.
But I think that the reasoning underneath
Why his voice sounds like this.
is because he's saying, "Fuck you for making me re-record all my dialogue."
Wow, incredible. But
Yeah.
so in his vision, he has spider vision or whatever it's called, and I'm sure we can find a Morgan out here. We call it a Morgan now, where we can probably find a Morgan who knows exactly about Madame Web and her connection. She is.
I have it.
Yeah,
I
oh,
have
okay,
all
great.
the connections. Okay. In the comics, Madame Web is an elderly woman.
Yes, I
right.
do
we
know
know
that.
that. And the reason why
that.
she is called Madame Web is because she's hooked up to a life support system that looks like a big spider web. And yeah, that's a big difference.
And she is. I
So,
do
but
know
this
she
is her origin story.
And this is her power. Her power set is the ability to see the potential futures that could happen.
Right, very much like
cool.
a Doctor Strange kind of a thing. And then Ezekiel Sims is just a rich businessman who gained some powers through a ritual, but he doesn't have the same powers as Madame Web, which he does seem
He
to have.
seems
But,
to have Spider-Man's powers.
but they also say, like, he was cursed. I'm like, pretty cool
When?
curse.
Like when did he? I want to understand his curse. And is he trying? He doesn't even. Here's the thing. He's so obsessed with these three girls and them killing him. He doesn't even care that he's cursed.
Well,
he doesn't seem to understand. I would think that would be priority number
Well,
one.
and
Wait,
this
I'm
is-
cursed.
And also, I think it's tough. And again, I really like this movie, so take this for this is my, I guess, only criticism. But it's tough when our villain doesn't have a bigger goal. Like he's
no
not,
goal.
He's not trying to take over the city. He's not trying to unleash some sort of toxin, and he's just trying to stop these 3 specific girls who, to us, are adorable.
Yeah.
And like, from killing him at some point in the future.
Not only that,
And they would get much
absolutely
older.
true. Yes.
They're going to get much older, so he does have time. It's not like time is of the
Well,
essence.
he's a
Like,
gray-haired
There's no
man in his
urgency.
vision. When he's gray-haired, that's when. But the other thing is, in these movies, usually the villain's plan is unfolds in stages. And each one seems to ratchet up the stakes.
Right.
Heightening. So by the time we get to Act 3, it's the Joker has put a bomb on a ferry
That's right.
and blah, 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 blah,
Yes.
right? But in this movie, he's just like, I gotta kill
He's like, I know there's
these
other
fucking
stuff,
teenagers. This is getting embarrassing.
But yeah.
And
He's like, you might be Constance's daughter, but nonetheless, I still gotta kill these teenagers.
Zosha Mamet should be dead 45 minutes in. She has failed him. He needs to get this
He's-
shit done.
he's a benevolent businessman, which we never understand what
What's
business
he
he's
protecting?
in. But my favorite part, and I guess this movie is trying very hard to do narration that you might read in a book, and they're trying to figure out, how can we do it? How can it's like almost like video game narration. It's like, a note. What does that say? And he sits down next to that woman that he has sex with, and he's like, so let me tell you. I do have these visions every night. I'm an older man. These 3 women come in and they kill me. I have it all the time. You don't know how scary it is. Like he monologues at her, and I'm like,
Nope.
this woman is
Truly.
gonna
If I
grab
were-
for mace. She's like, I've
Well-
slept with an insane person.
Well,
Gotta get
he
the
knows
fuck outta
she's about
here.
to die. He knows she's about to die because he's infected her with his toxin.
Yes.
So that he can get her
He can say
information.
whatever he wants
So that he
at
can
that
get
point.
the.
But I'm just still
his
saying-
entire plan is steal facial recognition software from the NSA in order to find out the identities of the 3 masked heroes who are teenagers now who are going to kill him in the future.
But
And we
here's-
loved it.
And the only images he has of them
Are
the only-
self-generated.
The only images that he has of these 3 people are through a mask that then he would have to describe to Mamet. Like he'd have to say, okay, I
Yes.
Like-
Like he's
or
working
like,
with a sketch artist in a police station.
like imagine what the skin that he has to
my
use
God,
is
it's
so
so
minimal. It's
small.
really just
we don't have a lot of
eye
surface
and
area.
a little lip.
I
And-
wish we had seen that scene
Oh.
of him
Him
working
just
with a
describing.
sketch artist.
And it's like it's like a spider on the front of.
Yeah.
Was she's wearing something with a spider on it? Yes. And then she's like, "This seems like a comic book." I would
also-
love it if she was like, "These seem like heroes. Are you a villain?"
Also, why the fuck does this guy have a costume?
Yeah.
He doesn't need a costume. He doesn't do anything except kill kids. And
Well,
not even kill kids.
No.
3.
I don't
3 kids.
understand.
And he doesn't even do that, really.
We have no frame of reference for the. He keeps saying they're going to take everything I've built away
Yeah.
from me, but we never
What?
find out what that is.
What did he build?
Who is he?
I don't
Why
know.
do we care?
And also, again, he seems to have more powers than anyone and no side effects. Morbius, in a wheelchair, then he has this, Morbius power. It's Morbin time. He gets to go up there and do his thing.
Venom. I get Venom. Venom's a symbiote
Yeah.
from outer space.
He gets to be like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. This guy seems to be Spider-Man. And
Bad Spider-Man. He seems to be Spider-Man as a villain, but he doesn't seem to be doing anything as Spider-Man except he's not using his powers. He's not out at night stealing, robbing, doing anything. He's just trying to
Hunting
murder
down.
the girls.
he seems like
That's it.
whatever money he's raising is to buy the most advanced technology for 2003 to do facial recognition technology. Now, I'll say this as well. What bums me out really about this is not even really Spider-Man. It's not even in the Spider-Man universe. This is like deeper tier. This is like 3 tiers removed from Spider-Man. Because at least Venom is in, technically, Venom exists in the Peter Parker world. Like
So does Madame Web.
I did say to you,
No?
Paul, no, because I said to Paul while we were watching, I said, is Spider-Man like a part of this? He goes, no.
Oh, not
Well,
this movie.
No.
No,
Not this movie.
No, I know,
But-
but like a part of
well,
the...
I mean, we see his birth. Huh? Peter Parker is born in this movie.
Yes.
So Peter Parker, that baby that's born.
Picked a peck of pickled peppers. Adam Scott's name is Ben Parker.
Yeah,
And
he's,
so
Okay.
Emma Roberts is his sister who, now I guess we didn't meet
Richard.
Shouldn't there be
Richard-
an Aunt May?
well, I think that Ben marries May, but something awful.
Oh, yeah. Sorry,
something
of course. That makes
awful
total
has
sense.
happened.
He's Uncle Ben. Sorry.
Right.
Sorry.
So something terrible has happened to Emma Roberts' character. I thought she was going to die in childbirth. Now, I'll tell you this much. This movie does two things that make me angry. One, Adam Scott, great. Like, I
Always
watch Adam
one of the best.
Always...
lifting up the movie. Like, literally,
Lifting
like,
up
I'll
every
say
scene.
it. I didn't care for him. I didn't care for him.
but they go so far out of their way to do this scene over Chinese food where Adam says, I met this girl, pretty serious, right? And you're like, oh, so now I feel like, okay, what? And I'm like, oh, we're going to see that maybe it's Mamet, right? And, oh, he's like connected to the bad guy or some version
Yes.
of, it would make a reveal of anything I'll take at this point. But no, it's just, he's dating.
Yeah. Well,
And-
I do
and we
think,
don't- doesn't
I do
pay
think
off.
that is Aunt May. I think we are meant to believe.
No, that's his sister.
No. It's, he
Oh.
is dating someone who's out of town.
Oh, okay.
He later says his girlfriend's going to be out of town.
Okay, so-
but yes.
I know, but to Paul's point, there's zero complications in this movie.
None.
It's the craziest thing, and again, we never find out who do those girls become. Who are they in
Well,
this
I
universe?
mean, can I just say one more thing about this dating relationship thing? I think that might have been a studio note to be like, oh, well, you guys should have some chemistry together, and you guys should get together.
Well, they were fucking. They intimate that they were fucking.
okay.
That's
Dakota
why he's
and-
saying, hey, just so you know, I'm seeing someone now. So
I didn't pick up on
So
that.
I
didn't
can't
pick up
be
on
that.
that
I
either.
can't be that you up text anymore.
It's
Oh, okay.
right?
okay. It's
Am I
so
wrong?
hard.
Wait a minute. Am I right? Am I wrong? Okay.
I didn't get that sexual attention. So now,
I didn't read that.
Did you read it when she said, hope the spiders were worth it, Mom? It's crazy how much exposition she does while talking to herself. I talk to myself constantly. But what I'm not doing is exposition, because guess what I know? What's going on.
Now, I will give her, though, she has an incredible comedic scene where she tries to crawl up that wall, and I laughed
So funny.
hysterically.
So funny. Agreed fully.
It was quite good.
Loved it. I would have loved 1,200 more of those.
No, I
That's
don't,
the
but I
tone
didn't-
the movie should have had.
And I'm trying to remember why she thought she was a spider.
Because she reads her mother's journal for the first time and finds out all the specifics about the spider people, including that they can climb stuff, as she has seen with Ezekiel. So she's like, maybe I can do that. And so
Nah.
she tries.
yeah, so she thought
Okay.
that she's
How
a
would I
spider.
know? She says, like, how would you know if you could climb the wall?
Now,
It was funny.
I mean,
Wild stuff.
LOL.
Honestly, like,
LOL.
honestly, like in an acting class, next level, just go to the wall and see if you can climb it.
She did.
nothing has given her
did.
any of that feeling. Also,
So good.
it's not clear that she has any powers. And so when she is like grabbing pieces of equipment and using it as a shield, I'm like, is that just Dakota Johnson strength? Or is that like, I think it's just Dakota Johnson. But I have two answers for you. But one is this. I think the director at one point said, just for fun, do it at a 10. And I feel like this is the scene where she really acts.
Your test results came back. I'm sorry to tell you that your baby has myasthenia
Camera work.
gravis. It's a genetic neuromuscular disorder.
But I don't have a neuromuscular disorder.
Life expectancy varies. Do you need a tissue?
No, I need a cure.
I'm afraid there is no cure.
single target nucleotide intervention. It's experimental, but there are some promising leads in the Amazon.
That's why you went there?
Jesus Christ.
I have to advise you against traveling in your condition.
I'm sorry, what are you offering besides tissues?
I know this is hard to accept.
No, I'm unwilling to accept a diagnosis of helplessness. And I'm not going to teach my daughter to either.
You did it. You did it.
Now,
What?
now I will tell you
That's
this much.
June, are you okay?
I will tell you this much. In watching the movie, that felt like a shockwave to me. I was like, wow, she really brought it. And then watching it isolated, I'm like, oh, I guess she was still low energy. So,
No,
in
it's
the-
crazy. It's absolute insanity that this is what's happening in the movie.
By the way, you could never diagnose that condition in the womb. And I will tell you this, June, just so you know, I didn't want to answer your question. So Sydney Sweeney is Spider-Woman. She becomes Spider-Woman, okay? And
Not Jessica Drew. Jessica Drew?
well, that is
she Jessica
Julia Cornwall,
Okay,
which
okay,
is Sydney
thank you.
Sweeney, becomes Spider-Woman. And then Julia Carpenter, oh, no, sorry, not Julia, sorry. Then Maddie Franklin, oh, I guess she's also Spider-Woman? Yep, she is. And then
I'm
Anna
gonna hazard a guess.
Corazon
Spider-Woman?
is- She is Araña,
Okay.
which I think is just
Araña.
Spider-Woman
Los
in
arañas.
Spanish.
When
Spider.
Ezekiel has
Yeah,
his
instead of adopting Spider-Woman, she took Araña.
in Ezekiel's vision, we see the three who we meet as the teenagers in, I guess, later in adulthood, in their outfits, with their powers, fighting and killing
What
him.
a fuck you this movie gives
Right?
us.
And
They-
boy,
they-
did I think we would catch up to that scene, or
Never
that
do.
they would get their powers, or those outfits, or any of it, and
Never do.
none of it happened.
We just give Dakota Johnson some cataract glasses, put her in Professor Xavier wheelchair, and go, happy now, assholes?
You know, we get.
Could not believe it.
No, it was not. It was
She
a
came
0.
out-
When she gets into like,
I couldn't.
when she gets into like, bless you so and so.
Yeah.
That when she's just predicting things that are happening
Yeah.
momentarily, like
And she
that
said-
would be exhausting.
When she said, I can see better than ever.
Ugh.
I was like,
And you guys
I
are
just want to
gonna-
go home and watch Idol.
And I
Idol?
thought that she meant
Is she a villain?
I thought that she meant Idol, that new show.
The Weekend show?
Yeah, the weekend show.
That would be incredible. If they cut to her alone in her apartment, feeding that cat, monologuing exposition, and in the background, it's just the Idol.
but here's what I did. Here's what I mean, at one point, at one point while I was crying, I did shout out the words, it's so hard to be a teenage girl.
You did.
And I did. I just shouted it out.
Especially if you're 32. So hard to be a teenage girl.
Now, here's what worked for me. We're spending so much time on what didn't work. Here's what worked for me. I really did. I found it very compelling. This story about, yes, a 30-something-year-old woman who has to take care of these kids and
No maternal instincts.
and has no
How do we
maternal
know
instincts.
she doesn't know how to deal with
The
children,
whole
though?
idea is that she is
It's
an
almost like there was
EMT.
a scene in a hospital that explained that she can't deal with
But
kids.
there was something about her intervening in their lives and them having their own trauma, all of them, and coming together and having 4 female leads where I was like, I'm sorry. I like this. I'm so sorry. I like what I'm seeing here. And I wish that it had held up, or there was more to it, of course, but that piece, I was so, I thought I really loved.
I
really
wanted to
loved.
watch the movie where they're a teen, where they're a
Yes.
team and they're doing their thing. You know, that's what I wanted
Yeah.
to watch.
I
that
like-
movie, and instead it was like, stay here. I'm going to Peru for a week to find the spider people in the jungle. Do you have the right stuff? I have a JanSport backpack that I'll wear over one shoulder, a grunge flannel around my waist. Will I get a guide? Absolutely not. I'm just going to use my mom's old journals to walk into the Amazon and find the spider people.
And
oh, look,
here's-
I did it.
But here's the
I'm
thing.
back.
Here's the thing. I know that we have our Marvel source material to deal with, right?
Not that
But
much.
Not that much. Okay. Because to me, a better movie would have been not even that she doesn't have any maternal instincts, but that she has this like arrested development where she's not an adult, and so she has to step in when all of these adults have failed these kids. Like that's an interesting movie to see her become an adult because she has to for them. But that's not what we saw.
But she's so muted from T to B.
I hate to
that,
break it to you, Scrooge, but you can't change anything.
Okay, I need to talk about this. When she
Sorry, I wrote down a bunch of lines.
when she is in the doctor's dealing with her clairvoyance, the doctor says, "Go watch some old movies." It's not
Why?
Christmas time, and she puts on The Christmas Carol, the old black and white one. Like, when do you watch that? Oh, it's August. Christmas Carol. And I think the only reason why she put on The Christmas Carol is because in The Christmas Carol there are future visions.
Yes. That you
Jesus,
can
that
you can
connection is
either
like-
opt
That was
that
a
you can
stretch.
it's a template for her life story. You can either change and evolve and grow out of this future, or this is going to be your future. And those are the paths in the web of connectivity. What? No. I just want to go home and watch Idol.
Is she sassy? Because I feel like they write their character like as
Yeah.
sassy.
They're like, brag much? And
She's
she's like,
also a-
I was bragging then. Like,
She
What about-
doesn't like anyone or anything. It's a tough character trait.
She's a tough hang. When she's at Emma Roberts' bachelorette baby shower, and she puts in a blank slip for things that connect her to her mother who she never knew, and Emma Roberts is like, "Whose is this?" And she's like, "Oh, that's mine." "Oh, what's this about? You left it blank." She's like, "Oh, I didn't know my mother. She died during childbirth."
that was so
Oh, but I don't
funny.
mean that that's going to happen to you. Death in childbirth happens very rarely. She
was
chose to be
so
in the
funny.
Amazon during. Should I be talking right now? I seem like someone who doesn't want to be the center of attention, but I can't stop being the center of attention.
I mean, okay, because think
What?
about it.
I loved it.
Think-
5 stars.
I loved it too. Because think about it, Jason. Like, she
I'm
didn't.
thinking about
okay,
it.
she didn't have to put in anything. Like, she
No.
could have just sat out of
She could have walked out and gone back to the barbecue with the guys and been like, "What's up?"
Or she could have just let that game play out. But instead, she puts a blank
She's like,
paper down.
"You know what? This needs to be about me." She knows it's going to get picked. Every
Psychotic.
one of those slips gets picked.
It's so, I mean, at least she had a Pepsi in her hand. She walks into that party, they force a Pepsi onto her. The fact that Pepsi plays such a large part. So Marvel and Coke, that's a thing. Marvel movies and Coke are
I
tied
didn't know that.
together.
Okay.
So Sony goes, Pepsi. And
Sony's like, "Hold my Pepsi."
yeah. And then I guess somewhere along the way, they go, wouldn't it be cool if a Pepsi sign kills the villain? Like, what if
Pepsi was so powerful?
that it kills the Pepsi is the hero
Yes.
of this movie.
Unquestionably.
1,000%, Paul. And it's not even like she shoots something or pushes something over that moves that giant Pepsi S. It's like it does it of its own accord.
And her act of heroism is knowing it's going to fall in
Yeah.
the future.
Why does she? I mean, I know that.
Do you think that alleviates her from the guilt of killing someone? That she didn't push him in front of it, she just lured him where she knew he would be killed.
Well,
Again, there were people in that helicopter, you guys. Like, don't forget them. Don't
not
ever
in
forget
June,
them.
not just people, EMTs. because she does call, like, we have an emergency transport situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, those
Those
are
poor people. They're like, we have nowhere to land. Like, I don't know why you brought us here.
quick. Head to the abandoned fireworks factory.
Okay.
I mean,
that was
that's a fucking Warner Brothers cartoon. I mean,
Oh.
that is
And
fucking Looney Tunes.
So much of
Looney
it wasn't
Tunes.
even shown. It was just the audio of fireworks in the background.
But those fireworks, what a crazy, like, to me, I was like, oh, she fucked up. Like, she fucked up. She shouldn't have done that. Because those fireworks end up almost killing her and the girl.
Well, she's blinded
Yes.
by a firework.
She is underwater.
I didn't realize
An
that.
underwater firework blinds her.
That's how good they are.
But thank God, she has taught all three girls the only piece of health, the only piece of life-saving. She's taught them all CPR. Chest compressions are good for everything. Every single call she goes on as a paramedic, chest compressions. You would think from this movie, because there's somebody, the EMT who gets injured in the ambulance, and he's covered in blood. He clearly has injuries, and she's just giving him chest. I believe he would have lived if she had treated his
wounds,
actual
the open
injuries.
wounds.
She pushed his heart out of his
Yes.
body.
He had open wounds, and she just was like, chest compressions.
By the way,
The only thing I know.
what if that's our shirt? Push here. Like just hands. Like, I will say this, and again, this movie, one of the cool things that they do in that sequence is how they have to work together to do a chest compression, because, sometimes you get like tired and you're like, somebody get in here, finish my chest compression.
But it's after minutes.
Well,
it's after
that's-
minutes. They switch after like 5 seconds.
Yes. But I was actually glad, as somebody who's always up to date on her CPR, I was glad, thank you so much. I was glad to see, people do get tired. If you're doing it correctly, you do tire out pretty quickly. And so it is important for other people to come in on the beat.
Absolutely.
And by the way, I agree with all this, but it would also lead me to believe that at the end, they would all take turns to revive
Yeah, they
her.
didn't
Only
do that.
two.
Yep, only
Two
two.
do. They do switch once. I
Why?
think.
After like 2 pumps. Your turn.
You're calling them a 2-pump chump? You're calling these teenage girls? Paul Scheer is calling these teenage girls 2-pump chumps? Wow! Blurb that on the book?
The best part to me is like when they do explain stuff, like she goes, don't shake his hand for too long. It has a powerful neurotoxin. And then Sydney Sweeney goes, then what happens?
Yeah.
You're
There's
dead.
so-
You're dead.
Yeah.
You're dead.
That's what happened.
What do you think is gonna happen? That's the crazy.
Neurotoxin. What happens then? Then you die. And then what? Then you're given a choice, heaven or hell, or purgatory. Then what? You pick purgatory. Then what? This is an insane movie.
Don't you think after she crashes a taxi cab, they steal a taxi cab, crashes it into the diner, right? She has been accused of abducting these 3 girls. They know who she is. All of this stuff is happening. Wouldn't there be people who would be on the lookout for a yellow cab with 4 women in it? And they are good. They're bopping all over town.
Well, I mean, who was that road stop truck driver who's like, I'll see the girls.
Yeah.
And then he calls, not the cops,
Oh, no, he calls some sort of hotline that Zosha Mamet is able to
hijack.
Intercept. Yes,
hear,
you're right. You're
tap
right.
into.
But they seem like...
But why him? You're right. Why? That's a scene in a movie where they would be in the diner, and on the TV, their pictures would be
Right.
playing on the news, and they'd be like, "Uh-oh, we're in trouble, busted." But instead, it's like a trucker's like, "Those are the girls."
Yeah, like he
What?
had seen it earlier in the day, had a photographic memory of these 3
No,
girls.
they were
but
on,
with
I think they
dancing
were on his
hair
newspaper.
But when they're dancing on a table, nobody is like, "Aren't those the girls?"
free. Aren't those kidnapped girls that are being forced against their... no,
which
they're
way?
dancing girls.
What movie? What do you want from me?
I found it, I don't know if anyone else noticed this, but after the subway sequence, and I really like that sequence, I really enjoyed it. After the subway sequence, when they are, well, they should be running out of the subway, they, all four of them, walk like this out of the subway stairs.
Right, their
Just
lives.
moseying, strolling away. I'm like, and I think it's hard because if I am those three other actresses, I see our lead number one on the call sheet walking like that, and I'm like, well, I'm not gonna race past her.
Oh, yeah.
Like they all kind of adopted her energy at points, and it's like this man just tried to kill all of you seconds ago.
But everyone is walking at a leisurely amble.
I have a
Surely.
theory for the back half of the movie why she's low energy. Jet lag.
From her
going
trip to Peru and
going
back?
to Peru.
In a
coming back.
Cessna. She flies to Peru in a 2-seater Cessna. From New York City?
By the way,
I'm so sorry. I don't think so.
I'm not even going to get into the fact that the photo that she's using for reference is 30 years old. I'll buy that. But how would you go, take me to this photo? Like to get to that jungle?
Absolutely. Absolutely. When Emma Roberts goes into labor, Adam Scott, who, again, I didn't care for at all.
Yeah, you keep saying that.
Is like, okay, I got to take you to the hospital. Obviously, I'm watching these three orphans who a Spider-Man character is trying to murder. Instead of having them stay in the house,
Why did they go?
you guys need to come with us. Come with us to the hospital, where there will unquestionably be cameras
Everywhere.
in myriad ways. So
Yeah.
every step of the way, everybody in the movie is a moron. Everybody, when confronted with a choice, makes the dumbest choice every time. Every time I feel like Dakota Johnson enters the web, the mind web, whatever that's called, I feel like she's kind of like, what is this? Like, no matter how many times it's shown to her, she's like, keeps coming out of it like,
Well, she comes out of it mad. Like, you just said that to me, you
Yeah.
fucking jerk.
which,
It's
which
now the fourth time.
Yes.
You're the problem. Like
The first two times, yes. But an hour and 35 minutes into the movie, she should be like, I know exactly what's happening. I can activate, don't worry. She's like, what the?
Hey.
I also
Did
found,
this
I
just-
found it troubling that the only way she uses that, like the only way she tries to stop what she sees in the future is with vehicles. Like there's no other
The pigeon.
way.
The pigeon.
I guess the pigeon.
No,
but
you're right, though,
But I
yes.
was like, I can't believe she's back in a vehicle trying to.
I mean, this might be the greatest stunt of all time. Arguably, it takes place on 42nd Street, right? This is the vehicle driving.
So.
This is where again, not her spider skills, her EMT driving skills. Driving skills are big here. Here you go.
You're right. She can't fight Ezekiel in any way, shape, or form.
Gotta
so
hit him
she
with a car.
only hits him with increasingly larger vehicles.
Yep, that's it.
That's it. Her fists are cars.
Well, you know what they say. Until she takes on the responsibility, great power will come.
Okay, so I want to talk about that because when is that what happens at the end in the Pepsi sequence where she sort of webs herself?
Well, okay, let me walk you back. This is maybe something that you don't know from the Spider-Man world. There is a very famous phrase that is pretty much associated with Spider-Man, said in every version of the Spider-Man movies.
It's an Uncle Ben quote that is like the touchstone of the Spider-Man story.
Okay, I
Jason,
love when
say-
two men are telling me about
Yeah,
Marvel
sorry.
movies. I love this.
Do you know?
I love
do you
this
know what
moment.
It is?
No,
You might
no,
only
I
because
don't.
It's been in those movies.
I love this
It
moment.
is with
With great power comes
It's
great
only for this. It's
responsibility.
boom. You
Yeah.
just said it. That's
Oh,
it.
well, yeah.
That's the Spider-Man.
And
Okay.
so for this,
That is the mantra of the Spider-Man story.
Okay.
From
for
Uncle
this,
Ben,
they
from
go,
Adam Scott.
What if we just switch it a little bit?
What if we?
I see what you're saying.
What if we inverted it?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't even realize that came from that.
Like,
Oh yeah.
it's
Can
like,
I admit something? That's one of the moments that I teared up.
What?
Oh, I feel very connected to that line.
and here it is played out.
You didn't hear.
You can't save all three.
And when you take on the responsibility, great power will come.
It doesn't fall off the tongue at all.
Trippingly. It doesn't roll
And
up.
hear it again. Just hear it again.
And when you take on the responsibility, great power will come.
And when you take on the responsibility, great power will come. What?
It's like the movie, though. It's like, I don't know if I'm in the past or the present tense. I don't know.
But yet, like, there are tears in my eyes, and I'm inexplicably writing a 5-star review on Amazon.
Wow,
I
Jason.
don't know. Thank you, Madame Web. You did it again.
Wow.
I mean, and that's the other thing, too. There's a whole part of me that thinks that now is Spider-Man cultural appropriation because he's clearly stolen his costume. Like, everything that I thought is like, well, from these Amazon warriors.
Yeah.
He took that.
Oh, I see what you're
The phrase that he was given by Uncle Ben,
Came from
Uncle
Madame
Ben
Web.
botched it.
Oh, yeah,
Right?
Uncle-
so
basically-
Madame Web said it to him, and
Yes.
he's like, oh, I think I remember.
Madame Web said it first. I'm sure she's going to say it to Ben Parker. And
It's like
he's
when
gonna
my dad is trying to explain something to me. He's like, yeah, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. I think that's what she said. And then Aunt May would be like, no, she said, when you take on the responsibility, great power comes.
And then Uncle...
Really? Like, that's what this movie is hypothesizing.
Wait a
that
second,
Ben
so-
heard it wrong.
But what you're telling me is that Adam Scott is currently falling in love with a young Marissa Tomei?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Tom Holland?
She's Aunt May for Tom Holland.
Oh, I guess you're right. Well, I mean, this is the
Right?
Yes.
And he's the age, he is the correct age to have been born in, what is this, 2003?
Yeah, okay, you're right. Yeah, wow.
I believe that is Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
No.
Because Sony keeps
no, but
saying,
wait.
we're
That
gonna
would, that would be weird because Marissa Tomei. I guess Uncle Ben would be so old.
Not so old because Marissa Tomei's not so old.
But in 20 years from now, Adam Scott will be like.
It's not 20 years
60.
from now. It's 20 years from 2012.
No.
Well, no. What do you mean?
This movie takes place in 2003.
Sure.
So 2024, Marissa Tomei is
Marissa Tomei currently.
currently like so. How old is that?
For those listening, June has gone home. I understand what you're saying. I believe we're meant to think that this is Tom Holland being born.
But I mean, I'm also going to say that in the Marissa Tomei Tom Holland thing, there's no Uncle Ben.
Yeah, R.I.P. a legend.
There's
Our boy
just
Adam
Happy.
Scott, I think
Sorry,
Adam Scott's
June.
going to die.
All right, sorry.
Have we solved anything? Even?
I loved when Dakota inexplicably had like a full-on Steve Rogers shield moment, where she takes like a piece of the roof and is just like with the fireworks, just like knows where every firework's gonna hit and is just doing straight up shield work.
Well, so just to Kim, I'm going back to the line again, but to go back to that moment of when she says, "If you accept your responsibility, then great power will come." Here's the thing about movies: like we want things to be dramatized, and there has to be some action to it. Like nothing happens in that.
I believe
moment.
she's meant to be taking responsibility for these three.
I understand
girls. Yeah.
that, but I'm
But then
also
she
like,
becomes super.
but there's something needed to happen. What we should have seen is that she should have been about to make a selfish choice and then have come back to a real. We are expected to understand that from her going.
Yes.
Right.
And-
You're right.
and,
Like she doesn't
What
activate.
happens?
Like I think that like she's already made that choice for great
Multiple
responsibility.
No,
times.
I don't think she. I mean, yes and no. I think the movie is saying because I think that's why they keep having her say like, "I'm going to send you back to your parents. I'm going to drop you off. I'm going to get rid of you." Blah 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 blah. And here she's like, "No, they're all three of them are inexplicably hanging from roof beams."
So
All
you're saying.
three.
So you're saying in that moment. Okay. So what I
She's
would
like,
here's
"I
what
will
I would
save
buy.
these women."
But she has been doing that the whole time. But here's what I would buy is if. Because what ends up happening is she does save all three. If much like a mother's instinct, she can't distinguish between who she's. I think maybe that's what's
Sure.
they're going for. And so that is
He says you can't save them all.
right. And so that is how she understands. But I'm having to put this together now.
It's also
And that's
it's
what's
also
tricky. You have
what
to do so much work.
It's also what the
after.
guy in Peru says to her is like, you don't, the Spider-Man in Peru, he's like, you don't know the power that you have yet. You haven't yet like tapped into the true potential of whatever it is.
But then I feel like there's a part of me that believes that when she does tap into that power, she loses the spider power in a way because then she becomes paralyzed. But I know she got hit in the face.
She
with the
kind
firework.
of becomes Dr. Manhattan. She
Right.
kind of becomes like, I see everything, everything is fine, everything's okay.
But when I saw her in that wheelchair at the end, I was like, huh.
Yeah,
I
it
get
was
the
a big,
blind. The
huh?
blind is cool. I'm like, this is like Daredevil. This is kind of cool. But that fucking wheelchair was like, that was an odd choice. I thought. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
That's the character in the comics.
Well, but she's hooked up to life support and she's almost dying. Now, by the way, I did just do some research. At this point in Marissa Tomei's life, she would be 39. So it does make sense that Adam Scott would be dating her.
Thank you, Paul, for doing the research. If you could just send me any of those links for young Marissa Tomei. Or actually contemporary Marissa Tomei. Right now, Marissa
So
Tomei.
they actually would make a fine couple. I think, they'd be fine.
I am honestly glad we figured it out because we would have been working on it afterward and at home. And so I am actually glad it's resolved.
Gotta get the bar graphs out. Let me
What's
go-
so interesting is, yeah, no, I guess Uncle Ben doesn't live long enough. But Aunt May never says anything about Madame Web.
She has to. That's
she's
what
so
I'm saying.
close to Madame Web.
Well,
you know,
this
and
is
yet
what-
then she has Spider-Man as a nephew, and you would think she'd be like, "Hey, I know Madame Web.
Well, all right. So in this world, what
Je
must,
connais Madame Web. Zut alors."
in this world, Emma Roberts and her husband die.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. on some fun adventure. Cruise ship disaster. Now, then the baby is left with Adam Scott. Okay, I buy that. Sure. Then he dies. Then Aunt May is like, fuck, all right, that's my kid. Like, so
Yeah.
he's very far removed from this family.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Oh.
Well, you don't feel like an aunt, even if you're not a blood aunt. Like you're still an aunt.
I just feel like I guess
Why don't we use the term blood aunt more?
Like you're still
Why
an
isn't that
aunt.
part of the cultural lexicon? Oh, that's my blood aunt.
I mean, I would hope
That's my
that
not blood
I
aunt.
would hope that
That's
with
my blood uncle.
I just think
I
that
would
there's a-
hope that with your nephews, who are my sisters,
No,
children, that
I
you don't
believe in
feel
the-
like, why the fuck would they be left with me? Like, I'm
no.
not blood related to them.
Whatever we make the T-shirt tonight, can we please just also make blood
Blood
aunt and blood uncle T-shirts?
Blood aunt, blood uncle. No, I guess what I'm like just taking in is the amount of tragedy that has hit this
Well,
family.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's
Yes.
like, where is Richard? And I'm gonna go one step further and go, Richard never comes home. Richard was in a car accident. He missed his son's birth. Oh my God, we're dealing with that. Then maybe a year or two passes, something terrible happens to Emma Roberts. And they're like, okay, and then we get Adam Scott, and he's like, all right, got this baby. This is gonna be great. Maybe they rushed their marriage a little bit. And Adam Scott's he's not super happy with May, and he's out late. drinking. He gets hit by a cab. And Marissa Tomei's like, oh my God. Like,
Yeah.
And she's like, now I got this kid from this loveless marriage. I don't even have a connection to his family because they're all fucking dead. She's got a lot of weight on her.
Can I tell you something? And you know who knows every one of those beats of life? Madame Web. She doesn't stop any of that from happening. This bitch knows everything that's going on in the future. She's like, I'll let you die. I'll let you die. I'll let you die. Everybody dies so that I can get a Spider-Man.
Let's turn on the house lights here. We'll go out to the audience and see what y'all have to say. All right, what's your name?
I am Jeff.
Okay, Jeff, what's your question?
So first, want to say in the comics, Madame Web is actually a mutant, so none of the Peru.
Right.
Yeah. But
Right? You didn't care to mention that?
I
First
didn't want.
hour and 43 minutes of this podcast.
So her
A
powers are
mutant?
not spider-related at all. She's just a
X-Men.
mutant.
She's
She's an X-Man?
She's an X-Man?
I mean, she's a mutant a la the X-Men.
I didn't want to get all nerdy with y'all. Like it was enough to be like.
Why? Because you wanted to be cool. You wanted to protect your cool guy image. I'm so sorry. I don't want to tell you about mutants and X-Men. I want to be cool.
I just wanted to simplify that because they really do. Yeah, she should be an X-Men, and I feel like somebody wasn't minding the mint because Sony doesn't have rights to the X-Men.
No.
And so I feel like they kind of snuck it in. Okay, but anyway, go ahead.
my question is regarding Ezekiel Sims and his lack of footwear, and I wanted to just see how we all felt about that.
My
walking
assumption
through.
on that, because
It
I
is
noticed
comics
it.
accurate.
My
It is
assumption
comics
is
accurate.
that my assumption is that it's so he can do his web crawling. You know, he needs his feet to be able to, his hands and feet to be able to web crawl, right?
But he uses footwear in his scuba outfit.
Oh.
So he's just walking around New York City barefoot for fun.
But that's a very rich person thing to do, like
Sure. Yes.
Howard Hughes.
And you know how you know how you
the
know he's
billionaire with no shoes.
You know how you know he's rich? He drives a new Corvette. He's got like $35K to burn on a brand new Corvette. When he drove away in the Corvette, I was like, this guy's not a threat. This guy's not a threat at all. He drives a base model Corvette. Get out of town, Ezekiel.
All right, your name, your question.
My name is Storm, and
Whoa!
When we first meet Las Arañas, they're like covered in red paint and like rope or something like that. Fast forward 30 years later, they're basically, no disrespect, dressed like Jason right now, like in a white button down.
He said no disrespect.
I more so mean like who
Wow,
gentrified
Storm,
the Peruvian?
you've got a lot of
I have
nerve,
a
Storm.
theory. Jason,
You've got a lot of nerve,
Los
Storm.
Arañas?
What if I just
You
with
have to
vines
tell us.
shot up into the rafters? Like
I have a theory. So I have a theory on this, and again, this is for a larger Substack article I'm writing. So I believe that Los Arañas, at the time of her mother's death, were a part of that crew, watching to make sure that the land was protected. And that's like their Clark Kent superhero, like that their Clark Kent Superman kind of identity. So they're in the world, but they're also Spider-Man. And so
But
that's
do you
how
think
the
that
baby
the Las
gets back to the United
Arañas
States.
wanted her to take that spider?
I think that they understood that she was only there to help her baby. And by the way, best reveal of a baby ever. Like the way she lifts up. But I believe that culture was, this is again, in my Substack, a very large, 25 paragraphs just on this opening scene. I believe that culture is like, you know what? Let's have her get a bite by the spider so she can cure her baby, because she's not trying to do anything more with the spider. She's just trying to cure her baby.
that's what she's trying to do. But I think when Dakota Johnson goes to Peru and meets with the guy and he's dressed in normal street clothes, that's reshoots. I think that is just reshoots. I think that is.
But doesn't he get in the clothes in the cave?
Nope.
Oh.
He doesn't get into any of that stuff. Like that, he's wearing he's dressed in street clothes essentially.
Interesting.
And everybody speaks just flawless American English.
Oh, yeah, he did speak pretty good.
Which I was like, I'm so sorry. This lost tribe of spider people is just like, hey, what's up? You wanna do spider shit? Oh, come take a milk bath. What's up? Spider shit here. Amazon, Peru. Ba ba ba. What? Come on.
Yes, your name, your question.
Stacy. And we've called them orphans a few times tonight, but none of them are orphans. And it was very concerning because one of them, their parents got deported. And nothing about it. One of them, she had a mom back in California, and her stepmom just didn't like her. And
Yes, I believe her mother was institutionalized.
her parents were rich and just didn't know she was gone. So
It's just runaways, right? They're more because at one point,
Oh, they're more like their parents have like forsaken them.
Yes,
I don't know if their parents know they're gone.
no, their
Well,
parents
Sydney Sweeney
definitely don't know they're gone.
Sydney Sweeney says she ran away. That's for sure.
After her mom died in the end?
No, her mother is institutionalized, right?
Oh, okay.
Her mother's institutionalized, but her dad, we just saw her with her dad.
No, her dad has a stepmom. She has a stepmom, but her real mom is across this country.
In a psych
But then
ward.
the one who has the parents deported had a little brother, I thought.
Oh, God.
Did she?
There
no,
is
I
there-
don't think
I
so,
can't-
Stacey. I think she was alone in that apartment.
I think so too.
I think the little brother with the picture was
with Sydney Sweeney.
Was
That's
with Sydney
Sydney
Sweeney.
Sweeney's father's
Yeah.
new
Okay.
son.
But your point point is a good one
5
though.
stars.
And you guys tried to stop me from getting Marissa Tomei's age. How dare you?
But you're right. You're right. They are not the only
They
orphan.
are not orphans.
I believe is Dakota Johnson.
Yes.
But yet,
we don't know who her father is though.
But yet, the
true.
thing that
No.
remains is at the end of the film, when they're all in the hospital room, they're like family only, and she's like, they are.
Yeah.
But that's also like kidnapping on some level too. They're not family. They are not family at all. And they all have active and rich families, and they could probably buy great face recognition technology.
I wish I knew what his whole thing was. Boy, would it have been more fun if he was like, if there was any dimensionality to the villain. If I was like, what is it? Like
He's just long hair.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And a voice like
and a
this.
stentorian
Yeah.
voice. Yeah.
All right, yes, your name, your question.
Yeah, my name's Andres, and there was a scene, ever in the diner scene specifically. They bring up Churchill, so it's in Churchill, New Jersey, which I guess from New York to Churchill is 1,500, 1,600 miles.
Okay.
Why is the Midtown High School team at this diner that is 1,600 miles from Midtown?
By the way, I don't think they have a Midtown High School team. Also, as a New York City resident, I don't think that they have like PS 145.
Yeah.
Midtown, I don't
And I
know.
thought the casting of I actually thought about those guys at the table quite a bit because
Really?
I feel like. No, but that's why. I feel like they were trying to make them like hunky but not too old, but the actors were older, but they were playing high school students.
Well, that
and
was
it
everybody. They had to match to the girls
Sydney
who were
Sweeney
all
is like an
30
adult
something.
in
Yes.
a movie
You
that
know,
comes out in the same
If they had
year.
cast actual teenagers as those boys and these girls walked up to them, you'd be like, get these guys out of here. These MILFs are trying to fuck them. What is this, a cougar movie? Get out of here.
I bought them as teenage girls, though. I didn't blink an eye.
And your question.
My name's Allison. I just wanted to put in a plug as someone who also is up to date on their CPR every year. To implore you to take a professional course. Do not learn CPR from this movie. Not just like the taking breaks so quickly, you're not keeping up the pressure that way, but also the rate was way too slow.
Yeah.
There was some one-handed CPR. She was not looking. She was not paying
Staying
attention.
alive.
She was doing CPR, and then suddenly the people were like magically just okay. And
Yeah, it's really a
You're going to be
disservice.
okay. You're going to be okay. Don't worry about it. You're going to be okay.
Let that be
That's
one.
that's what she says to that guy she's giving CPR to.
Let that be one thing you take away from this movie. Do not learn CPR from Madame
watching
Web.
it.
Or
I would
maybe
love
that's the
it
shirt. I learned CPR from Madame Web.
That's it. That's a great shirt.
Madame Web CPR certified.
Yeah. Good. That's it.
Okay.
I guarantee you within the year, if not already, there will be a news story about some kid saving someone's life from using CPR they learned from Madame Web. I promise. And when that happens, you guys all owe me money.
I will just say this one thing, because we did talk about this diner scene a lot, and I thought this is interesting. So the director wanted this film to be a commentary on toxic masculinity and how it's a poison to strong, independent women. And Ezekiel Sims is a man who's trying to kill 3 young women with toxic powers. This is clearly toxic masculinity, which is emphasized, and why the film is set in 2004 or 3 for Britney Spears' Toxic, which came out in 2004. So it's weird.
Wow.
But according to the producer, the filmmaker set the film in 2003 so they could feature the song Toxic.
So this whole movie was just backing into getting toxic?
Why did
Like
they
Britney
need it to
Spears
be a
into
new
it?
release?
Well,
that song still exists now.
Played quite a bit.
And the DJ,
I hear it
Everybody
all
knows
the
that song.
time.
And the DJ does say, that song's from Britney Spears and she's going to be a big star. She already was. I would argue that was the apex of her career. Like, you weren't predicting it. So there's also been a lot of talk online that if that DJ was to play it, he was playing like a deep track off of this Britney Spears album. So that is interesting.
Strange.
Yeah, that is an interesting one.
I hope
All right.
all the Second Opinion songs are too toxic.
Let's hear some second opinions right now. That's right. We have opinions about this movie, but there are people out there with a different opinion. It is now time for second opinions.
Madam Web does whatever a spider can't. Driving skills, ADR, Adam Scott, CPR. Look out. Here comes 5 stars.
Amazing.
Great job.
That was great. Oh, hold on. Take this, sir. Take all these Pepsis. Give them to your friend. You've done a great job.
Wow.
All right.
Wow, only 4 more hours left in the show.
Here we go. Madame Web came out this year. There are just 1,000 reviews on Amazon. And as we've found with movies that come out the same year that we do them, there's not that much to pull from. We've been finding that Letterboxd is a lot better for the more recent films. And this one goes like this, by Felix. Villain is too scary. Couldn't finish it. 5 stars.
I wish that they were specific and that they thought that Madame Web was the villain.
John Thinder writes, genuinely makes no sense how people think the line in the trailer, he was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders just before she died, is bad. How? It's telling us what's going on. It's necessary to the plot. They say it's unnatural, which, no. That's how people talk. 5 stars. And then the last one from Egghead Human. Egghead Human writes, these girl bosses are slaying. 5 stars.
Incredible.
Yeah, so...
Oh, I wish their team was called the Girl Bosses.
The whole cast came out against this movie in a crazy way.
Terrible. That's terrible.
Dakota Johnson said, this film is unrecognizable from the version that I saw the script of. She told people not to go see this movie.
Wow.
Multiple times. When those people were on the red carpet, they said, this movie opens on Valentine's Day. What do you want to tell people to do? I said, stay home, go sleep.
No way. Oh.
Sydney Sweeney said, I'm going to go to sleep. Like, I've never seen so many people that are in a movie shit on a movie when it was in the theater. They're like,
Wild.
Nope.
But we would like you to reconsider.
Yeah.
Because this was dynamite.
I liked it.
Loved
I
it.
did too. I did too. And in fact, I think knowing that it was so universally hated and people had such strong feelings about, her doing Marvel and all female leads in Marvel, like I was like, I wonder what this is. And I enjoyed myself.
And it was over 2 hours and felt somehow shorter
Flew
than
by.
Beautiful Wedding.
Flew
by.
by.
Was inexplicable. Beautiful Wedding seemed to me, the movie we did last night, to
I
take
remember it.
about 7 hours to watch. It seemed to be...
It was the longest movie I've ever seen.
It was a mini-series. It felt the longest in
I feel like
history.
I'm still watching.
I feel like we're just inside Beautiful Wedding. And in
This
that...
was a breath of fresh air. And again, Jason, we're not well. We're not
we're
okay.
fucked.
We're so not okay. In terms of what we are consuming for this podcast, that obviously take that with a grain of salt. But boy, it went down quite easy.
I thought it was way better than the way that people talked about it. Like, there are things in it.
You know what I thought it was better than? Morbius.
Oh, yeah.
I thought this was way better than
1000%.
Morbius.
I want
If you said to me,
quick,
you've got to watch Madame Web or Morbius right now, I'd be like, Madame Web. Because
Absolutely.
one of them, I have to watch Jared Leto. So I'm Madame Web all the way.
I do believe that I like Jared Leto's enthusiasm for it. It feels like there are moments in this movie where everyone's like, when's lunch?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
in one scene, you can visibly see Sydney Sweeney having like a crafty coffee. How's your eyesight?
But it's a shame because...
How's your eyesight? That's what she asks. How's your eyesight? You were in the hospital. It's not good. It's bad.
What a thing to
Now,
ask.
I will tell you the original script. The premise of the original movie was Terminator inspired. Okay, so Madame Web and the Spider-Woman were trying to protect a pregnant Mary Parker from a time-traveling Ezekiel Sims who wants to kill her to prevent the birth of Peter Parker. That was the original idea, which is aces, in my opinion.
I get it. I understand what he's on, why he's doing that.
And they have a very clear mission.
Great.
Wow.
Right?
But my guess is they didn't do it because it required Peter Parker to be the focal point of the thing, and Sony won't. Is that it? Is that they
There's
were like,
no reason.
Oh, okay.
No reason was given.
I'm sorry that I'm looking for logic as to why it got shifted into this pile of hot diarrhea that I loved.
I believe...
I think this was just meant to be an origin story, but it's so strange. It doesn't...
Right. And then are you telling me for 20 years there's been 3 Spider-Women running around New York City? So when Spider-Man shows up, they're like, oh yeah, we know this.
But I'm assuming...
We spent the last 2 decades with 3 women just bopping around solving crimes.
I'm assuming this is a different unit. This is like a multiverse dumb stuff. And that like Spider-Man would get sucked into this universe as himself. I don't know. Or this is Tom Holland and we're all like, who cares?
The good news is when they asked the producer of the movie, they said, is this a superhero movie? The producer of the movie said, no, it's a thriller.
A thriller? A thriller?
Thought that was an odd choice. A thriller.
Yeah, you were gonna say like
Thriller.
action.
Just like Ambulance or Bring Out the Dead, like those.
Thriller.
Yeah.
Thriller.
Wow.
I don't know.
It's a real thinker.
Clairvoyant thriller. Sure. Well, I think we all agree that we would recommend this movie.
Yeah, I might even give this a
100%.
second watch. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm going to watch it tonight.
Yeah. I think a dream night would be like to take a little gummy, smoke a little weed, and put this
Wow, you're doing a
movie
gummy
on.
and smoking weed?
Yeah.
Why
It's
not?
Madame Web, baby.
Time for some Madame Web. I think this is like
Do a little H. Take a gummy. Get that substance they gave Michael Jackson called milk.
It was propofol.
Throw it on.
It was propofol. It's what I got when I was getting my colonoscopy. And the guy was like, "Hey, big fan." As I was like, "What world am I in? Madame Web."
Now, when you came out of that colonoscopy, could you see the future?
I wish like some pathway came out of my asshole and connected me to the people that matter, because that's where silk comes from in spiders.
And that is our show. Thank you so
my
much for coming
God.
out. Thank you, LA. We'll be back soon.
Eat shit, LA.
That's a wrap on Madam Web. Thanks, as always, to the wonderful staff at Largo and our recording engineer, Rich Garcia. If you want the t-shirt that we created for this episode, which says Madam Web CPR certified with the handprints on the chest, go to tpublic.com/stores/HDTGM. Next week on Last Looks, we'll be going over Madam Web corrections and omissions. So if you have something about the movie to get off your chest, leave me a voicemail at 619-PAULASK or write a comment on our Discord at discord.gg/HDTGM. And a reminder, my book is out there, so go get it. Joyful Recollections of Trauma. You can get it wherever you get your books. And keep those reviews coming. And thank you so much once again. Make sure you see us in Nantucket at the Film Festival. And then Father's Day, we'll be performing in Boston at the Wilbur Theater. All right, you can find us online at HDTGM. That's right, everywhere you can go online, you'll find us at HDTGM. And last but not least, I have to say thank you to all of our listeners who support this show every week, and our entire team who this show couldn't be done without. I'm talking about our very own producers, Scott Sani, Molly Reynolds, and our movie-picking producer, Avril Halley, and our engineer, Casey Holford, as well as our associate producer, Jess Cisneros. That's all I got, people. Bye for now.